Hey guys, welcome back to another video. So in today's video, I'll be teaching you guys how to make a dynamic help command. So here's a quick preview of it. So if I do !help, you should see all of the emojis. So as you can see here, info, we have info commands, test commands, then moderation commands. Alright, I'm pretty sure you guys seen the preview. Alright, so we're actually going to use Discord.js version 13. So to install it, you gotta open up terminal, just do npm Discord.js to get the latest version, which is Discord.js version 13. So we're gonna use the command handler from the previous video. So the reason that I'm using this handler because we're gonna use the directory. Okay, directory basically stands for the folders in here. So we have info, moderation, and test. Okay. So if I go in commands, you should see I have a few fake commands. So as you can see here, we have ban, we have kick, we have unban. So all of these are fake commands. Okay, so just pretend this is a normal bot with all of these commands, and then we have a description over in here. So the essence of this help command is it displays the name as well as the description. Alright, so once you select a new category, it's gonna show the name of the command as well as the description of the command. So let's just start coding it. Alright, so we're gonna import some things from Discord.js. Okay, I think we're gonna use message embed. Alright, and then we're gonna use the action row. And then lastly, I think we're gonna use the message select menu. Alright, that's all we need from Discord.js, and then I'm just gonna name this command the help command. Alright, so you can add a description to your command simply by doing comma, and you can just add a description. You can just do a string, whatever it is. So let me just say help command for bot. You can do whatever you want. Alright. So in here, we're gonna define a way. So we're actually gonna get all of the directories. It's pretty simple. You can use the set in JavaScript. So const directories equals to an array. And then we can just do ... Why is it doing that? And then we can use a new set. And then in the set, we're actually going to pass in the directory. So we can just do client.commands.map. Okay, do make sure you're using my command handler. The latest command handler. Alright, and then we're going to map the command. Let me just do command. And then we're going to do the command.directory. Alright, so make sure you have the correct spelling. I think I missed another bracket in here. Alright, so we're gonna get all of the categories. So let me just test this out real quick. So let me just check if it works. So console.directories, and then if I do !help, if I do !help, it should list all of the directories that I have. So as you can see here, we have info, we have moderation, and we have test. Okay, so all of these are the command directories. Okay, or you can call it categories. Okay, so the next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna define a function to make the string prettier. So as you can see here in terminal, it doesn't start with a capital, so it starts with a lowercase. So you actually make this uppercase so it looks a little nicer if you want. So let me just do format string equals to a function. Let's just use a arrow function. Okay, that's the way to go in 2021. So str character 0, we can make it 2 upper case. Okay, it's a function, and then we can add the lowercase words by doing string.slice and then 2 lowercase. So this basically gives us formatting. Okay, so you don't need to change the info to capitals at the first character or whatever it is. Alright, so this is the function. So let me just recheck if I did anything wrong. So yeah, it looks good to me. So let's just move on. Okay, next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna map the we're gonna filter out the command. So let me show you what I'm doing. So I'm just gonna call this categories. So this basically is gonna show us our command category, and then it's gonna list out all of the commands and its info. So we can just do equals to directories dot map dir, and then can do this. Okay, we can just define get commands equals to client dot commands dot get. Oops, we're gonna filter. So as I said, we're gonna use the directories in the command. That's why I'm asking you to use this command handler. So client dot commands dot filter, and then we're gonna get a single command, and then which is gonna be command dot directory is equals to directory. Alright, so we're checking, we're gonna filter out the commands like this. Okay, so let me just format the code a little bit, close the sidebar. Okay, so once we get the commands, we're gonna map the commands. So in here, we're just gonna do dot map command. Okay, so in here, we're just gonna return name will be command.name. Oops, should I add strings in here? Command.name, and then we're gonna get a description as well. So we can just do description will be command.description. Alright, so if the command doesn't have a name, so we can just do AR. If it doesn't have a name, we can just do command is not ready, or we can do there is no name. Okay, or in here we can just do there is no description for this command. Alright, okay, pretty simple. Okay, here's super simple stuff. And then lastly, we're gonna return the directory name and our commands, so our get commands. So let me just do return. Okay, make sure it's not inside the get commands. Make sure it's not in get commands, and then we're just gonna return a directory, which is gonna be format string, and then we're gonna pass in directory in here. And then next will be commands, will be get commands. Okay, so we can actually console log out this so I can show you what it actually outputs. So we can just do console.log and then categories. Go back to Discord. Okay, and we do help. Okay, as you see here, info. Okay, there are two commands. We can't really see because it's labeled as object. So if I go back to Visual Studio Code and I open the sidebar, okay, what am I even doing? Okay, so as you can see here, info have two commands. So there's two commands in here. Moderation should have 4 commands. So let me just open up. There's 4 in here. Test should have 2, and there is 2. So basically in these objects, they have a name and a description. So we can use that in our message select menu. Okay, so the next thing is we're gonna create a initial embed. So this embed is gonna be sent. The first thing when we run this command, this embed will be sent. So I'm just gonna name this embed, or you can make it a message content as well. I'm just gonna make it an embed so it looks a little better. New message embed. We're gonna set a description. We can just do please choose a category in the drop down menu. Okay. So please choose a category in the drop-down menu. It's a really simple embed. And then now we can create the component, which is the message selection menu. So let me just define it really quickly. We're going to make it a function so we can set it to disabled, or we can set it not disabled. Alright, so we're just going to do const components equals to state in here. You're going to need a state, which is going to be true or false. So this is going to be a boolean. Okay. So in here, we're just going to do new message action row, and then we're going to add components. Okay, in here, we're going to set a message select menu, and then we're going to set a custom ID to help menu, or you can set whatever you want. It really doesn't matter right now. And then we can just do set placeholder. Okay, so this is, if you don't know what placeholder is, I highly recommend you to check out my selection video to really understand what's going on in here. So the set placeholder, we're just gonna do please select a category. Let me just format this, and then lastly, Oh, actually, we need to add options as well. So set disabled. Okay, so in here, we're going to pass in the state. If it's false, it's going to not set it disabled. And if it's true, we're going to set it disabled. So I'm going to explain why we're going to use this function, this components function, later on this video. Okay, so we can add options. So here is the fun part. Okay, we need to map out the categories. So as you can see, we're going to map out this. All right, so categories.map and then command. Okay, and then we're going to return an object. Okay, so let me just scroll down a little bit. Let's close this away. Okay, so in return, we're gonna return a label. Okay, so this is a label for the options. So we can just do command.directory. Okay, and then we can set a value. Okay, so this is what we're gonna get. So we can just do command.directory.to lowercase because we want it to lowercase, so you can easily check it out. All right, and then lastly, we're gonna have a description. Okay, so we can just do commands from command.directory and then category. All right, pretty simple. Okay, I'll be also teaching you guys how to add emojis to your command at the end of the video. So yeah, do stick until the end of the video. Alright, so this component is basically done. So now I'm gonna teach you guys how to send a message. So I'm just gonna define this as initial message. So initial message, alright, equals to await message.channel.send, and then in here we're gonna send the embeds. It's gonna be the embed that we defined earlier. Next we're gonna have the components, which is gonna be components. Okay, so we're gonna set the disabled to false. Alright, because we need it to be able to, we need to interact with it. So we're gonna use components false. Okay, pretty simple. And then let me just go down. Okay, we're gonna create a collector. So first we're gonna define a filter. Of course, the const filter equals to interaction. Once again, it's an arrow function. So we must make sure the interaction.user.id is equals to message.author.id. Okay, pretty straightforward once again. And then we're gonna define a collector. So const collector equals to message.channel.create message component collector. Make sure there's a component in here. You don't want to use a message collector only. So in here we're gonna pass in a filter, and then we're gonna have a component type. Okay, we must make sure it's a select menu. Lastly, we're gonna have a time. You can set whatever time you want. I'm just gonna make it 5 seconds. Okay, I'm just making it 5 seconds. Okay, you can put whatever time you want, or you can just remove it. Okay, so we're gonna make it collector.on and then collect. Okay, so once it collects something, let me just do that real quick. Okay, so we're gonna get the value. So const directory equals to interaction.values. Alright, so this is what is gonna pass in here. So once we get this is gonna be in here. Alright, so directory. So we can just, I'm not gonna hard code everything. This is gonna be totally dynamic. So we're gonna make some dynamic code. So const category equals to categories dot find. Okay, we're gonna find, and then x dot directory dot to lowercase is equals to directory. Alright, so this basically means that we're gonna go back into this object. Where's my terminal? Okay, so we're gonna go back into this, and then we're gonna find for the correct name. So let's say we clicked on info, it's gonna search for this object, and it's gonna return this object over in here. So here's our category, and then lastly, we can edit the embed. So it's pretty simple. All we need to do is interaction.update. Okay, we're gonna use this interaction. Okay, we can update the message by doing embed. Okay, so now let's define the embed. So const embed equals to new message embed. Oh, did I define embed up here? Oh yeah, I did. Let me just do initial. Okay, never mind. Let me just leave it over there. Embed. Okay, let me just leave it there, and then we're gonna define a new name in here. So embed. Let me just do category embed. All right, why not? Category embed. Okay, so it's a new message embed. We can just set title. What? Set title. Title, and then we can just do directory commands. So this is going to say what command it is, and then we're going to set a description. So set description, it's going to be you can say whatever you want. I'm just going to say here are the list of commands, and then we can just do add fields. Make sure there's an S. Okay, so let me just format the code again. So in add fields, we're gonna do some more fun stuff. So category, okay, and then .commands.map, and then we're gonna get the command return, and then we're gonna return an object with a name which is gonna be the command name. Okay, so let me just leave it as strings for now, empty strings. So value, we're gonna have a value. So this is basically a normal field of embed. A normal embed field, so this is what we have, and then inline will be true. So inline, if you want it to be all in the same, like, okay, I'll explain it later on. I'll explain why we're gonna use inline later on. So for the name, we're just gonna make some cool formatting. So two backticks and then backslash backtick backslash backtick. So it's gonna create a markdown effect. I'm gonna show you guys what I mean later on in this video. So we're gonna use the $ thing, command.name. Okay, so we're going to display the command name first. Okay, for the value, we're going to set the description of the command. So we can simply do command.description. Alright, so this is basically done. And then we can update the embed like this. Alright, so finally, we're going to, once it's ended, we're going to make it so that it disables the components. Okay, so let me show you what I mean. So collector, the on end. So once it's ended, okay, once it passes 5 seconds, we're just gonna do this arrow function. Okay, we don't need the properties in here, so we can just do initial message dot edit. Okay, and then we're just gonna edit the components. So in here, components, we're gonna use the components again, the components function. Okay, for the state, we're gonna make it true. So we want to set it as disabled. So yeah, let's just test this out. So let me just go back to Discord. Okay, and let me just run help. Alright, my bad. This shouldn't be an curly braces. It should be an array. So I totally messed it up. So just make sure this is an array. Alright, so let me just remove this. Okay, so just change the curly braces to an array. So let's just restart it. Okay, ready. Let's just test. Oh, help. Okay, it works. So we have all of categories in here. So info, moderation, test. Okay, so if I click on test, there's an error. So what's the error? Let me just check. Unexpected token. Oh, it's not the error. Oh, I see now. Alright. So let me just remove the timer because we don't have that much time to work with. Okay, so let me just remove the timer for now. Okay, so if I do exclamation mark help again, and I can choose a category, info. Okay, so here is a list of commands. So this is the command name. So if I zoom in, you should be able to see that it has a black background. So this is why I use the markdown syntax. So if I go back to my command section, okay, as you can see here, there's a help command. So help command for bot. This is the description, so you can find that in here. The description is help command for bot. And if I go to ping.js, there is no description in here. That's why it's gonna say there is no description for this command. So if I want to choose a next category, so I just need to click on here, click on moderation. So as you can see here, there's a ban command, there's a kick command, there's an unban command, there's a warn command. Alright, so now I'm gonna teach you guys how to add emojis into your drop down menu in here. So you can have a emoji in front of info, you can have an emoji in front of moderation, and etc, etc. So go back to your code, and then we can create an object called emojis. So const emojis equals to an object. So in here, basically you're gonna pass in your category name. So moderation, we have info, moderation, and then test. Alright, so we have 3 categories in here. So you can just pass in whatever emoji you want. So for info, I'm just gonna have a info emoji in here, this I information. And then for moderation, I'm just gonna have a hammer, because why not? It looks something like moderation, I guess. And then lastly for test, I'm just search for test tube. If there's there's a test tube. So this is all the emojis that I want. So I want to scroll down until you find until you see components, and then in here there's a label, value, description. So there's actually a way to add. So you can just do emoji. So in here, we're just gonna do emoji, and then we're gonna use the square brackets, command the directory dot to lowercase, or it's gonna be null. Alright, so if the category doesn't exist in here, there won't be any emojis in there. Alright, pretty straightforward. Okay, make sure it's S. I forgot to add the S. So emojis. So now I'm back in Discord. Alright, so if I run the help command, as you can see here, there is info, moderation, test. So if I click on one of them, it's gonna edit the embed. Click on another, we can edit the embed again. Okay, so the last thing I want to show you guys is another approach to this. So if you don't want to send an embed, you can actually do something else, which is gonna be pretty cool. Alright, so instead of editing the message, you can actually send a new message, which is only viewable by yourself. So you can simply do that by doing interaction.reply. Alright, so embeds, we're just gonna make it apphermal true. Alright, so like this, and then basically you can just remove this. Okay, so let me just show you guys what this looks like. If I do exclamation mark help, okay, and then if I choose a category, test, it should show me the category, and then I can choose whatever category it is. So yeah, that should be it for today's video. If you have any questions or any issues, feel free to join the support server. Links will be in the description. Alright, have a nice day. See you in the next video. Bye!